It's gone. All right, now. Okay, awesome.
So,
Finally here. It worked. It worked.
I had asked them if they started working on their FRANKS list, and they don't know what that is. So what a FRANKS list is which is one of the topics we were going to talk about anyway, is your list of contacts that you make, a list of 100 people, and sorry, I'm getting notifications from you, that you can reach out to and touch base with and keep connecting with. So FRANKS stands for family, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors. Megan, help me out here.
Kids.
Kids, thank you. So like contacts through your kids, like teachers and things like that, and spouses. Contacts through your spouses. So go write that out at the top, and then go through and just try to write down as many people as you can, and try not to like
prejudge.
Yes, thank you. Prejudge, say, oh, they're not going to buy. Don't do that. Just if you think of a name, write it down, and then from there, once you get to your 100 or 200 or whatever, you can start reaching out to those people. So again, it's FRANKS list, and it's friends, family, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids, and spouses. And that list will be forever evolving. I think I have a list of, my last one was of like 250 people. And I've reached out to those. Some of them were no's. And if you have any no's on there, just put them on a separate piece of paper, but don't ever disregard them. You can always come back to them at a later time. Like I had a no several months ago over the summer who was really interested in the ProBio 5 for her kids. But once we talked about it, she's like, her kids would never eat it or drink it and opened up in anything else, and they're too young to swallow it. So, I mean, and they're like, it was a no. Like there was no way she could get them to do that. Well, now that the new multi's out, I contacted her again, and we'll go from there. So it's an ever evolving list. Another example is my son had his birthday party at preschool. He started a new school, and we came in and brought cupcakes and stuff like that. And I started talking with the teachers in there, and one of the moms came in to get her daughter, and I ended up getting 2 more friends added to my list and 2 more contacts, one of the teachers and one of the parents. And so I've added them to my list. I've sent them information. So it's ever evolving. And another example is we were at a restaurant last week, and I overheard this guy talking to his friends that he's pre-diabetic and he needs help. His doctor said, get with it or you're going to be in trouble. So I got his name. I got my sample out. I got my out of my purse. I always carry samples, and I always carry like a brief description of either the triplex or the mini catalog from those little brochures from my Plexus print. I handed him that and said, here you go. And after we talked about it for a while, his wife had bariatric surgery, so it was something that could benefit both of them. So just keep your list growing and changing, and you can redo it every 6 months and see who you can come up with more and add to it. So that's the FRANKS list.
Yeah, and I think too, like the no's are not a never; they're just a maybe.
Yes.
Because you still want to build that relationship with that person, because you never know what it's going to turn into. I mean, think about, Kayla, how long it took for you. If I would have just given up, think about what you might have gone to somebody else or never have realized or been able to have this opportunity. So I think that it's very key to never think of as a no as a hard no, and unless they're very blatant about it, but you always still keep that relationship very, very open, because you just never know. You want to be available to help people. So I think that that's something to think about.
And the hard no's, like in looking back in reality, you get a very small percentage of hard no's. Like don't contact me again. I mean, maybe
it's usually just crickets.
It's usually crickets. But if you get crickets, keep contacting them. Don't contact them every week, but start with a week, then 2 to 3 weeks, then once a month, and then go from there. Just because they're not answering doesn't mean they're not interested.
And don't worry about bugging people. I think that was my fear in the beginning. I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm bugging them. But if you're building that relationship, and a lot of times you're contacting them not about Plexus. You're not always like, oh, have you thought about Plexus again? If they're getting crickets, you just ask them about other things in their lives, and you just get to know them in other ways, and build that relationship, like I said. But like she said, those hard, you never really actually get an actual no. Sometimes it's usually just crickets. So
yeah.
Just on those. Now, Kayla, do you have your welcome pack kit with you?
I have it, yes.
Do you have it right there available?
No, I have it right here.
Okay.
I can get it.
Yeah, do you mind getting yours?
Yeah,
For some reason, I'm like, I can't think. That sounds bad. Because in there, and Alyssa, you have your welcome pack. And Alyssa, do you have the new one or old one? Alyssa might have the old one. The reason I'm asking Kayla is because I think she has the newest. Here, sorry, Alyssa, I have you muted.
Yeah, I have the old one. So
yeah.
We'll see what the new one.
Yeah, that looks like the old one.
And the new one is the 17. Yeah, so if you don't mind opening that up.
Okay. Because
when you go in there, I think this is another thing that we all kind of overlook is actually looking at our welcome pack and reading what's in it. And Alyssa, I don't know, maybe down the line, it's only $17 for us to buy it separate.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So you can buy, because this has a lot more resources than the old one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's all the new stuff.
So. All the newer stuff.
And it's really nice too. I had the old one, like I said, when we signed up, and my husband did too. So when the new one came out, we bought one. And it's got a nice description of, the products on cards with price lists for each, level. So it's really nice. It's got little thank you cards and a DVD. Yep. Yes. Perfect. Thanks, Kayla.
And I just
oh yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah, those flashcards are amazing. And I mentioned them to Jackie Shader too, and she's like, oh yeah, or I think it was Jackie. But anyways, but those flashcards are really nice because they even give you talking points, because I took them to Florida with me, and they even give you suggestions of how to talk about them or even post about them. Yeah, it's what you could say and things like that. So even Alyssa, I know you don't have the new one, but those
yeah, I should get it.
I could take pictures of them and send them to you.
Okay.
Yeah, and then isn't there a fold out? Or the FRANKS list. The reason I brought it up is because of the FRANKS list.
I don't remember seeing a fold out. Maybe there is.
Remember how it's that thing right there? Doesn't it have on there the FRANKS list, Kayla?
Yes. Number 6 is make your FRANKS list.
Yes. What does it say?
It says make a list of people you know, friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighborhood, kids connections, and service organizations. Yes. You never know who you might be interested in what Plexus has to offer, so write down everyone you can think of.
Yeah. And then, I don't know if you can see this, but creating your FRANKS list. It's right in this book of Let's Get You Started. And it even has a list that you can use. See?
Yeah.
See that or?
And I've got, yeah, we can see it. And I've got a couple, memory jogger and something about the FRANKS list in my Dropbox that I can post on the team page too.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So you guys can have that as well.
So I think, so all of our newest newbies that have the new welcome pack, really look at this book. I know that sometimes it's overwhelming and you think, oh, is it really necessary? But it really does break it down for you really, really well in this book. And So I think it's just something I think we kind of overlook it. Like people just want to talk to each other, which is great. We should be doing that, but really using these resources and looking at that.
I go back to mine often. I just go and look at it. Like I had it on top of my fridge, so I just grab it and.
Good.
Oh, Kayla, that's so good to know. That's awesome.
And
very good.
Do that.
Even has sorry.
Oh, sorry. No. Yeah. That's the Facebook and yeah.
What?
That the Franks that I've heard was spouses, but it is also can be service organizations and things like that Kayla said. Because I have heard it both ways.
Yeah. And I think that makes sense. You should think about your spouse's connections because I know that Kate has had many friends of John's join her. Yeah. And that's when she's tagged her, tagged John in her posts. Mm-hmm. So don't.
Organizations like, churches and, anything related in that way. Any, moms groups or, whatever, mops, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So okay. So do you guys have another question coming off of that? Any questions?
You guys good? All right. So, do you want me to go, Megan?
Sure. Because I was just going to screen share a few things. So go ahead. You go first.
Are you sure?
Okay.
Yeah. So another thing that I want to talk to you guys about is support groups. I have a lot of my team that are very new coming to me and saying, what products should I suggest for this? Or I have somebody that has like fibromyalgia or MS or whatever, reflux or whatever. Okay. Sorry,
I'm going to go to Facebook.
No, that's okay.
So that you can, when you say them, I'll look them up.
Yeah. Okay. So, I want you guys to know that there is pretty much not just like our support team page, like Healthy and Strong, but there are also groups for plexus and mental health, plexus and breastfeeding, plexus and, autoimmune disorders. And I'm going to go to my groups and read them as well. Health, wellness, and infertility. So infertility and plexus and how it can help. So you can request to join all those groups. You have to request. You will very rarely be be able to add yourself. But if you know somebody that has an issue or, is dealing with something or has a concern about something, go request to be a member of the group and then go do some research in there once you're added. You have to be careful. Some of the groups do not allow people other than customers in there. So just be aware of that. But they are great resources. I have somebody that I just signed last night that has a pretty severe form of MS and is having a lot of trouble. And so I signed her up. And the first thing I do when I ever sign anybody up is if I know they're dealing with something and they specifically joined Plexus to help with something like she did with MS, I go to my MS resources and add them to the page. But yeah, there's tons of groups available. And if you want to search for groups, you can do it up in the search bar like Megan was doing, and then the groups will pop up in the top. Or you can also go to the ambassador support page or just our team page and say, I'm looking for a group for this. You will get more replies, most likely, from the Plexus ambassador support page, which is another group you guys should all be in, because there's more people in that, and they would suggest some groups. And a lot of times they'll also tag members of the groups who can add you, like members or admins of the groups who can add you to the group themselves. So that's just another good resource for you guys to have, the groups, and adding your clients to them or finding research for your potentials. There's great testimonies in there. There's ideas on how you can, what regimes work best for the people that dealing with the specific issue that you're looking for. and Plexus, you know, stuff like that. Are you having trouble finding it, Megan?
Yeah, and don't like worry about posting on those. Post your question, scroll through, and if you see someone that's breastfeeding, like Kayla, I think I sent you that screenshot. I was like, you can message these people that actually have put posts on there. You never know. Everyone is very, very friendly. It's one Plexus. I've had people message me back, and I've gotten really good answers and really good insight because I've never struggled with fibromyalgia. I've never struggled with high blood pressure. I've never struggled. I mean, I didn't have Plexus when I was pregnant, you know. I mean, we always say check with your OB or check with your doctor. But so, and we'll talk about that a little bit because Elizabeth and I were talking about that today. But Elizabeth or anybody, how do I get to search my groups? Like, I wanted to kind of show you guys. This doesn't seem like all my groups. I don't know. It's so much easier on your phone. I feel like you can really search your groups, and it's like
I don't know. Just go up to the top and put in like Plexus. And are you part of the Plexus and mental health group?
Let's see.
So this is a good example of how you would search for it. Just go to see all. Oh, no, go to groups at the top. I'm pointing like you can see me.
All right. Oh, okay.
All right. So you're not. So that's another one that I can, I think I'm going to make a post about that on the team pages too and put all the groups that I am part of.
Can you?
Yes, I can do that.
Yeah, that would be great.
And, you know, if you guys find any groups that are, try to find ones that are legitimate. And one of the ways you can tell is if there is, you know, 10,000 people in the group, you're golden. If there's 10, don't join it. It's just going to be, it might not even be worth your while to do, you know, to join something like that.
Yeah.
So I'll make a post about that, but it's a good, it's a very good resource. So the person that I signed, she is, she has MS, and from these groups that I went to about Plexus and MS, we were, I was asking questions and doing some research, and I found some local people, and I asked them if they would be willing to do, to talk to her. And so we're going to be setting up a Zoom so that she can talk to them, and I'll be on and she'll be on. And, you know, that way it'll be more personable for the client, and they will all get to, we'll all get to learn a little bit more. But that's a good resource where if I wasn't in that group, I would have never known about it.
Yeah, and that's incredible.
So
yeah,
and as many Plexus and, you know, mental health, Plexus and autoimmune disorders,
ADHD,
or, you know,
whatever,
like
that too.
Yeah, ADHD, autism and sensory disorders. You know, it's really good to find, do some research and look for some groups and join them. And you'll see that usually when you go to search for the groups, you'll see like who your friends are that are in the group as well. So that'll give you a good idea of how, you know, good it is, or if it's legitimate, or, you know, you just have to be aware. Like I said, I have found some groups that are like
shady.
Yeah, shady, or that are even not even active anymore. So also go down and look at the most recent posts. You know, some of them are just not even active because the FDA is cracking down. A lot of them have been renamed and changed to a different group because the other group was found. So
yeah, and I think too, like some of them have just taken Plexus out of it, and I think that's a compliant thing, you know, because we can't claim that we're curing anything and things like that. So that's also what I was going to, and so when you do message someone, it is good to check out to make sure that they're a Plexus ambassador. Like you could see that on their profile and all that good stuff. And the other thing I kind of mentioned was you always say, you know, check with your doctor or let your doctor know that you're taking these products. And Elizabeth and I kind of talked about this today because, you know, if you go to your doctor and say, can I take these things? Most likely they're just going to look at it, look at the word slim and say, no, you don't need that. And that's happened to so many people. And they say to me, what do I do now? And I said, well, next time you talk to your doctor, say, I want to take these things. These things are what I'm going to be taking. I wanted to let you know, are there any ingredients that would, you know, interact with what my medication? Maybe you're not even on a medication. You just want to make sure that they're, you know, they know, because that's kind of what I did with my deal. I said, I just want to let you know, these are what I'm taking before we get talking, and so that you know who, you know, what I'm putting into my body. Because a lot of times you have to list all of your supplements anyways, and just ask if there's any interactions. And the other good thing to say to someone too is talk to your pharmacist. Your pharmacist is going to know what medications are going to interact with certain ingredients. So that's another direction you can point them into, is to talk to their pharmacist, so that, you know, we are being safe. We're not being willy-nilly about this. We know it's going to help, but every body is different. Every person is doing something different with their lifestyle and also with their health issues. So you just have to make sure that you're always directing them to those things. So I think that that's just very important to think about. And instead of saying, can I, it's more like, this is what I want to do. This is what I am doing. So,
yeah,
you know, what do I need to know?
For sure. I am taking this, or, you know, like Megan talked about, for sure.
And so then Elizabeth and I also started talking about how thyroid medication, we know that is not, that can interact with the chromium. What happens is that the chromium doesn't allow the body to absorb the thyroid medication. So that is something that we all should be aware of. We're not going to talk about it like we're doctors. We're just something that we need to make sure that we ask new people that are coming to us to take these products. That's a huge question to ask them. Are you on a thyroid medication? Also, antidepressants. We want to make sure, be open. Say, are you on an antidepressant? If they want to take a certain product, which is the accelerator, because it has 5-HTP in it. It's a serotonin releaser. That's dangerous when you have too much serotonin going through your system. And then, which I think Alyssa could probably speak to a little bit. I don't know, maybe not. But then, what else were we talking about? Heart problems, heart conditions.
Yeah, heart conditions. People with autoimmune diseases, like specifically MS, they can't take thermogenics. So the boost and the accelerator would be out for them. Now, with the thyroid and the slim, that's a little different. You can take those with Synthroid or whatever. You just have to space them out for 4 hours. You can either take your slim 4 hours before your Synthroid or thyroid medication, or you can take it 4 hours after. So that's a little bit different, but that's something that your clients or your potentials need to be aware of. But that, like the 5-HTP and the accelerator with the antidepressants, that's a major one. And
any heart conditions, you don't want to be taking an accelerator. It's a stimulant.
Exactly. Or the boost. Any thermogenics or stimulants they don't want to be on. Now the edge is a little different for heart conditions. Yes, for blood pressure issues, you can take edge.
But again, that would be something you'd want to say, this is what I'm thinking about taking. Because I think, a lot of people who are on blood pressure medication, they just want to avoid caffeine. But, like my mom, she was able to cut hers in half, but she's still on blood pressure medication. She can have caffeine every once in a while, but nothing.
Yeah. And a good question to ask is, ask your potentials or your customers, your potentials, what are you thinking you might want to take? And if they have no idea, then you can guide them. Say, well, what health issues are you having? Or, just the basic questions that we normally ask. But ask them first, if they've heard of it and they have an idea, what are you thinking of? What products are you thinking you want to take? And that'll help guide you a little bit
as well.
Yeah. And saying, yes, you can take that or what, once you get a little bit more of their health history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think two key things right off the bat are thyroid medication, just so you can advise when to take their Slim, because they can take it. It's just the timing, like you said. And, yeah, I think that's just probably the main one. Because a lot of times our customers are just using the triplex right away. Yeah. I just think it's overlooked sometimes. And then people are like, wait a minute, I just was talking to somebody who actually got a sample from another ambassador. And she was like, yeah, I'm on thyroid medication. And she didn't ask me until after I took it and blah, blah, blah for a whole week. And I was like, oh my gosh, so it really is important to make sure that you ask if they are taking a thyroid medication.
Yeah.
Because I think it's more common than we think, because she was my age. It's not an age thing. It's not a discriminatory thing,
And as if you give out samples, you can ask that as well, but that's not something you're going to have to worry about so much more if they were taking it long term, like 7 days. That's going to interfere with their medication. That's going to bind to their medication, not let them absorb their Synthroid or whatever medication. So you want to just like make sure if they're going to take it long term. You don't really need to. You can ask
for
like
one time. I mean,
yeah, it's not,
that's crucial.
But what is it that makes it bad? What is it that makes it? Yeah.
Let me see. I have it. I believe, if I remember correctly, don't quote me. I'm looking it up at trying to find my Dropbox.
Wait, are you talking about Slim?
Yes.
It's the chromium.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The chromium interacts with the thyroid medication. I think it binds it or blocks it from being absorbed.
Yeah, you don't absorb it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and find.
It's not as if it's gonna shock their body or do something negative to their body. It's just that their thyroid medication is not gonna get absorbed, so it's not gonna do what it's supposed to do.
Correct. And I have a page. There we go. That I can also. Okay, here we go. Plexus and hypothyroidism. I can post this too.
Okay.
So, Synthroid, Levoxyl, others.
Okay. Well, go ahead and post that, and then we have 10 minutes left, so
okay,
that would be great. Any other questions about interactions or how to handle that?
Are there any other like major interactions that I should know about? I mean, I know about the antidepressants and the serotonin, and now I know about the thyroid, which I didn't know about.
Right? Yeah. See, that's why we have these conversations. Yeah.
Yeah. The heart one is the other one. 95 to 99% of doctors, it depends on obviously their heart issues, but like if they have high blood pressure, you need to definitely get them to ask before they start accelerator or boost. Yeah. Some doctors approve it, some don't. With the edge, the same thing. Some doctors will say, yes, you can. Some doctors will say, better not. For obviously, if they have a serious heart issue, they definitely need to bring the ingredients in and then talk to them. The other thing you can be aware of is some people with autoimmune disorders should not take things that rev up their immune system.
Right.
Yeah, so just be wary of that. So if they come to you, I was asked about, I can't like build up my immune system, things that like increase my immunity. Our system is a little bit different because we're working on the gut health versus just boosting the immunity through, like, ours is probiotics, where if you were taking something to like actually boost your immune system, like elderberry syrup or thieves or something like that, that's different. but that is also a concern that people have. So just so you know, we work on, you know, improving the immune system through gut health. That's where the immune system, we're not activating the immune system.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, that's been brought up a couple times, concerns of people. So that's the difference. Is
good.
that clear? Well?
Yeah, that made sense. Yeah, no, it made sense. And then the ease has the muscles.
Yes.
Muscles.
Reaction.
I actually am allergic to shellfish, but I can take the ease. Same as Kate's mom has a shellfish allergy, but she's taken the ease. So it's a concern, but it doesn't mean they can't try it.
Yeah.
And I'm not anaphylactic, but I definitely, if I ingest it, my throat will start to swell up. It's scratchy. It's scary, but I take the ease and I'm fine. So I just took one, and I just had Ben watch me and be ready if something happened, which is probably not smart, but whatever. I was totally fine. And I'm so glad I did, because Ease is like my favorite product. I love Ease, especially when I up that day. So it's incredible. But, and when I had poison, it was insane. I took 2 times a day, and I so thankful. It was crazy.
And another thing to do when people, advise them about the shellfish allergy, but say, now, if they say yes, just say, okay, well, just so you know, this is a mollusk, which is in the shellfish family. It's not like a direct shellfish like scallops or things like that. So it is in a subcategory. So I think that might be why some people are able to take it, along with the way it's processed. So some people might not have a bad reaction, like an anaphylactic reaction, and are okay with trying it. Some are just like, no way, I'm not even going to risk it. And that's totally fine. You have to obviously support that.
Yeah. And then where's my block? Oh, shoot. I think block has like iodine. Just check that out for the block. Iodine. Some people can't take iodine.
Yes.
Just something to be aware of.
Yeah, I don't know where my block is either. And iodine also for thyroid as well, I believe.
Okay. All right. So the last thing, because we only have 4 or 5 minutes. I know it goes by way too fast. But I want to show you real quick, because I've had a couple of questions about this lately. If you go to your shopping cart and say I want to get the triplex, I'm going to add it to my cart. And then I'm going to go to checkout. I wanted to show you, now we've taken out a lot out of my Plexus Pay portal, but we'd like to leave a little bit in it, because actually yesterday I was able to pay my yearly membership fee, because 3 years ago on Halloween is when I joined. So on Monday I paid it, and I was actually able to use my Pay portal. So this is something kind of what I want to talk about too. And then Kristen Butler on our team, we made an order for her. And, I showed her how to use her Pay portal, that type of thing. But if you have it in your cart, you know exactly how much you need in order. Well, actually, no, not right here. You don't. But if you go to view totals, you can view exactly how much you owe, even with shipping, right? So $121.64. I obviously don't have enough now, and I'm not going to buy this right now. But you can use your Pay portal funds and put in $121.64. I could even use partial if I wanted to. I could, say 43.32. Let's use my whole entire amount. And then it will take it off. And that's all that will be charged my credit card. So I kind of wanted to show you guys that, because I think that's key. And I think a lot of us don't know about it. So anybody who's listening to the recording can see that. And I think that's a great thing to know that you can do. And then in order to use your incentive code, you click here, and it's going to be like an AQHZ, you know, and you apply it, and Kayla's actually done this because she was able to get an incentive code in the beginning. And Elizabeth's probably done it a few times. And it will, again, take it off over here in this area before you actually check out. And then I kind of wanted to show, too, how you actually do the incentive code.
Yeah. I want to talk, I'm glad you're talking about that, because if you send we've got a little trick to make it a little bit easier for your customer for you to send your incentive. So as Megan clicks onto this.
Right, it's account services, Plexus Pay Portal. And I have to, you know, do my login.
But you send the incentive to yourself, and then when it's sent to yourself, you'll get an email code. You like the code that Megan typed in. You can just copy that email that you sent and send it to them. So just that code, I send it in a text, so all they have to do is copy it and put it into the part that they want, and then there you go. It's a lot easier.
And yeah, it's a lot easier, because I think people, when you send it straight to their email, it gets lost or they lose it. But you can, what I've done before is I've gone into my shopping cart, and say we want to give them an incentive for Edge. You just click Edge, hit the view totals, you know, actually as if you're checking out, and then you go into here and you say, okay, I know I need $43.25. Like, you can send them the exact amount, okay? And then you can set an expiration date, and then when you get the email to yourself, just send them the code. It's like capital A, X, Y, Z, D, V.
Yeah. And I also always put, you know, it's to a new recipient, but I always put their name in there. So I know, because I've sent a lot of incentive codes. Sometimes I've sent 4 in a month. So I know how much I've sent to each person and which code goes to what person. And then I'll use my email address right where Megan's at to send the code to myself. And then, like I said, like Megan and I said, we copy and paste just the code and send it either in an email or text